Hey, what's up, beat hackers? This week I wanted to make a video for brand new music producers, teaching them 3 simple ways they can go about adding bass to the drops of their first couple of tracks. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, so a question I get asked quite a lot is how to add bass into a drop. So I wanted to put a quick video together just showing you 3 different techniques. So if you see, I'm on Ableton here and I've got a very basic drop put together. In fact, I'm going to take away all the different bass options and I'm just going to play to you what my lead sounds like with the build-up. So this is the build-up and this is the kind of basic EDM lead that I've put together. Okay. Now we're going to add bass to this and we're going to make it a really boomy, bassy kind of drop. Now there's 3 ways you can do it. The first way is you want to go and find yourself a really long kick, which is basically a kick drum with a long boomy bass afterwards. Now that bass is going to be so long, you don't need any other bass line. Let me just show you. If I zoom in here and I solo out this track, you can see I've got this kick and it's this long kick. In fact, let me just loop it. It sounds like this. Okay, now if you think about it, this section here is the kick. Let me just zoom in a bit longer. This is the kick part of it. And this bit here is more like the bass part of it. And together, you really don't need much more than just that repeating. This is a bit more of like an old school kind of house kick. Now this technique isn't used as much anymore, but it's still a really powerful way, an easy way for you to just add in a very effective, powerful bass into a drop. So let's just have a quick listen to that. Okay, cool, so that's option number 1. Option number 2, which is equally as simple, is like an offbeat bass, okay? So whatever key you're writing your track in, all you need to do for this option is have a basic kick going like this. And then all you've got to do is you've got to go in and just have a bass kicking between each bass note. It sounds a little bit like this if you play them together. And like I said, all you got to do is go and get a bass patch, put it on the offbeat here, and that's pretty much it. You just have it going kick, bass, and make sure that the note that you're putting in there is in the key of the track that you're writing. So this track is in F sharp, so all the kicks are in F sharp. Sounds like that. And this is what it sounds like if I put it in with the rest of my track. So that's option number 2. Really simple, really easy, really effective, and it adds that kind of bounce to your track. If you listen to a lot of like Melbourne house, that's what they typically do. They have an offbeat bass that kind of bounces in and out with the kick. Okay, so that's option number 2. Really simple and effective way to add bass. Okay guys, so option number 3 for you, which is a really quick tip, is if you've got one of these long kicks, but actually you want it to sound a bit more like a kick and bass, bouncing back and forth like option number 2, you can actually do it with Volume Shaper. So if you see here, I've got a track that's just got one of the long kicks on it. And what I've got is just a Volume Shaper where I can just shape it. So you get the initial kick, then it goes quiet, and then it comes back up for that bass. So it sounds a bit like a kick, bass. So I'm just going to twist this knob here, which is going to bring it up in the mix. And you're going to see how it's going to go from one long kick drum into a kick and bass. It's been separated quite clearly. Have a listen. So that's another cool little tip for you there. If you wanted to take one of your long kicks and turn it into a bit more of a Melbourne bounce, you can use a Volume Shaper to do something like that. Right, now option number 4 for you guys, which is kind of like the most popular these days, is to have a bit more of a bass line going on. So this is a bit more of a rhythm to your bass. Now, one of the simplest things you can do if you want to create a bass line is to just take your lead sequence and copy it into a bass lane. So for example, I've got this lead here, and I've just taken that MIDI sequence and put it into a bass lane, so it sounds a bit like this. So if I put the kick and the bass together, it sounds like this. And if I play the whole thing together, it sounds a bit like this. So that's a really cool way you can just add that bass line just by duplicating what you've already got going on with the lead. Now, of course, what you can do is you can create a completely different bass line, so it's doing something different to your lead. So, for example, here I've programmed in this, and it just is a completely different sequence. Sounds like this. Which you can obviously have going on, but the one thing I will tell you is as soon as you've got a different bass line to the lead that's playing, it can create a bit of a clash, and it doesn't always go. So this is a kind of a tricky option. You're going to have to play around a lot more if you're going to have a different bass line and a different lead. So have a quick listen to what it sounds like with this example here. So it's just another option for you guys to play around with. And you can play that in by drawing in the sequence or playing the notes on a piano or Ableton Push or whatever you want. Now, the other thing which I did want to throw in there is if you decide to go down the route of playing with different bass sequences, you could build a whole drop just with bass notes and a kick drum. So, for example, I've just put in this really basic kind of bass like melody here. It sounds a bit like this. Or something like this. And again, once you start making these really interesting bass lines, and those aren't even very good examples, but once you start using more interesting bass lines, you don't often have to have leads sitting on top of it. You see, like most drops come down to a kick drum, percussion, bass, leads, maybe some white noise. Whereas actually, guys, what's quite popular these days is quite stripped back kind of drops, which is just like it builds up and it just goes down to a bass line, you know? So you can have something like this. So there you go, guys, there's a really quick tutorial for you there for brand new music producers who are making their first couple of drops and they're wondering why their drops might sound a bit thin. It's probably because you haven't got enough bass going on. And these are a couple of simple and easy to follow options for you if you want to start adding some bass into your drops. Hopefully that helps. So guys, check it out. If you enjoyed that video and you're brand new to music production, or maybe if you've never produced before in your life and you're watching this video thinking, that stuff's kind of cool, it doesn't look as complicated as I thought it was, maybe this is something I could get into, maybe I could start to produce my own music, I'm here to help you out. Underneath this video there's a link that's going to take you through to some free live training that I'm currently doing. It's going to teach you everything you need to know about making amazing music. So if you're at the beginning of your music production journey and you're interested in knowing more, click the link below this video. It'll take you to edmcoaching.com. You can go and register your spot now for one of my free live training sessions. Finally, guys, I just wanted to say, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, leave a comment and tell me what you thought about it. Over the next couple of months, I'm going to be doing a lot more music production tutorials. It's going to start out with relatively easy stuff like this, and I'm going to build it to much more advanced tutorials over the next couple of months. So, if you are interested and you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you hit that button there and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you get informed about new videos that I release. If you want to go and see that free live training, make sure you hit that button down there. And finally, if you want to see a video on how to start your first EDM track, hit the link below. I'll see you guys in next week's video. Ciao!